Up next, a discussion about using magnification devices for model building. Well, hey everyone, that bell means class is back in session. Welcome back to another Interstellar Academy. In this video, what I'd like to do is to spend some time talking to you about using magnification devices for model building. This is something we all eventually encounter the need for. I've been meaning to put this video together for some time. People have asked me about putting something like this together, and I'm finally finding some time to do this here for you. Now, many of you know that I'm an optometrist by profession. I've been practicing optometry for over 33 years. Man, that's a long time. But as you can imagine, I encounter the question about reading glasses or the need for reading glasses every day. So the first thing I like to do is address the question as to why we all need reading glasses eventually, and it boils down to something we call presbyopia. There's a lens that we all have in our eyes right behind our pupil that when we're younger naturally focuses for everything that we need. Unfortunately, that lens starts to harden and we start to see the impact of that by around age 42 to 45. This is when people coming in telling me that their arms aren't long enough any longer. And this is something that happens gradually. It doesn't occur overnight, but over about an 8 to 10 year period, you become more and more dependent on the need for magnification for reading. So it's unavoidable. There's nothing you can eat to stop this. There's no exercises you can do. It's just something that is part of the aging process. And so what I'd like to do is to split up the discussion into two parts. We're going to talk about reading glasses first, because that's an option a lot of people reach for and use for many years. And I have a couple of devices here on hand that I'd like to show you that I have found useful. So let's begin with over-the-counter reading glasses. These are glasses people refer to as cheaters or magnifiers. Either way, they're glasses you can find at the store. You don't need a written prescription for these. And when you go to the counter to see them or go to the stand wherever they're at, you'll notice they come in various powers. 1, 150, 175, 2, 250. I've seen them go as high as 350. And these powers refer to something we call diopters. This is a unit of measurement we use when writing out prescriptions, and the power is listed on the temple of the reading glasses. This is a pair of these over-the-counter reading glasses we're talking about. So circling back to my point about knowing more information about your eyes, in order to maximize the use of these reading glasses, people who get the most out of these reading glasses are people that just need straightforward magnification. So for example, someone who has no distance correction and they're finding the need for these reading glasses now. Say someone who has had cataract surgery and has had the implants put in, and they're implants that correct just the distance, not the fancy multifocal implants. Or say you're someone who's over 60, doesn't have any distance corrections to speak of, and they've pretty much lost all their ability to focus up close. Again, these all factor in as to how useful these devices are going to be for you. Okay, so let's assume now you're someone who just needs straightforward magnification. You're ready to go find some reading glasses. The first question you're going to ask is, what power do I need? And so there are a few ways to estimate this. One is using the distance that you're going to be needing these reading glasses for. So what you basically do is you take the distance in meters, and then you take the reciprocal of that. That's going to spit out a number. That's the number in diopters that you need to look for. So let's take an example here. So 16 inches is considered a typical reading distance. This is the distance we use when we're determining reading glasses in the exam room. And that converts to 40 centimeters or 0.4 meters. If you take 1 divided by 0.4, that equates to 2.5, and so therefore you need a 2.5 diopter reader at 16 inches. If, say, you need something at 10 inches, that converts to 25.4 centimeters or 0.254 meters. You take 1 divided by 2.54, and it gives you 4, so therefore you need a 4 diopter reader at 10 inches. Now, bear in mind, when you do these types of estimates that we're talking about here, and you're someone who's under the age of 60, this is going to overestimate the power that you need because you still have some natural ability to focus on your own. So my advice here is to take this number and play with it a little bit, and that's where the next method of estimation comes into play, and that's trial and error. Go to the store and just try first the diopters that you calculated, and if you feel that's too strong, you want to step down. If you feel it's not enough, you might want to try to step up a little bit and see if that works any better. Now, another way to estimate this is to use just age. You can Google age estimation chart, reading glasses, something like that, or you can just ask ChatGPT or tell them that you're 55 and what power reading glasses do I need. You can even put at 16 inches, it'll spit out a number for you, and you can use that as your guide. Now, I don't want to drag things out too much here in terms of trying to do calculations and all of that, but I want to just address the issue of why a distance correction might cause problems for you when you're trying to make these calculations. Let's say, for example, you're nearsighted. So nearsighted eyes are elongated, and they have to be corrected with minus power or minus diopters. Now, I want you to think that if you have, say, a -1 need for a distance correction, when you take those glasses off, I want you to think that you have an extra diopter of focusing power in your eye by just taking them off. That's what nearsighted eyes do. So that means if you had calculated a 2 diopter reading prescription and you take off those -1s and you put a 2 diopter over that, you're really looking through 3 diopters of focusing power, and that's going to be more than what you had intended. Now, let's complicate things even further and say you're a person who has nothing in one eye and -1 in the other, and there are a lot of people who run around that way, have no clue they even have a prescription. And they go to the store and buy readers and they realize, man, these just really aren't working. So say they calculated a 2 diopter reading prescription, where they're going to get 2 diopters in one eye and 3 in the other. So now you have uneven focal points, and that's going to make it a little difficult to use these. Now let's complicate things even further and say you're a -5, right? So now you have 5 diopters of focusing power. If you take off those glasses and you think you're going to put 2 diopters and get 16 inches out of those, you're going to be mistaken, because you literally are putting 7 diopters of focusing power in front of you, and that's way too much for most people to even use. Now let's say we add astigmatism now, which is an irregularity in shape of your cornea or the lens, or both for that matter. That's going to factor in as well, and if you are farsighted, it makes it even more complicated. So I'm not even going to go into that, but you can imagine how all of these things now, as you calculate your need for magnification, can make things complicated, because it's just going to throw the numbers off and you're not going to get the effect nor the magnification that you're looking for. Now, what are the pros and cons to using over-the-counter reading glasses? The biggest pro, of course, is the expense. It's actually not expensive to do it this way, and because of that, you are able to get multiple pairs. If they get damaged, you can easily replace them. So there's not really a lot of investment here, and that's a big plus. But there are some downsides to this as well. Let me kind of go over those real quick here. First of all, the materials that they use in the lenses and the frames are not the best quality. They're inexpensive, that's why they're cheap. And so when it comes to the lenses, you might encounter some aberrations. In fact, if you hold them up to the light, you might see there's some distortion as you go from one part of the lens to the other. These types of distortions can lead to some eye strain and some discomfort as you use them, so just bear this in mind. The other thing is the fit of the frame. Now, if you've ever gone into an optical shop and start trying on frames, you'll quickly find out that you can't fit every frame in that store. Everything's a little bit different as you go from one frame style to the next. And this can be important, especially if you're using them for long periods of time. They should be comfortable, resting on your nose properly, not pressing behind your ears. If any of that's happening, it can make it uncomfortable to use these sorts of things. Now, talking about the lenses again, there's something called an optical center, and this is the true center of the lens where it's supposed to have the truest prescription, and ideally you want those optical centers lined up with your pupils. In fact, if you've ever ordered glasses online, they'll ask for a PD. That stands for pupillary distance, and everybody's pupil distance is different from one person to the next. In fact, it can be different from even one eye to the nose to the other. So these types of things become critical, especially the higher the prescription gets, because if you start to look off center, it can induce something we call prismatic effects, and that simply can lead to some eye strain as well. The other question I get is it harmful for me to use over-the-counter reading glasses? The answer is no. It's not going to harm your vision. It's just going to cause some eye strain as some of these other variables come into play. And another question I get too is, by using these glasses, is it making my vision worse? Is it accelerating the process? And the answer to that is no. I mean, you do become more dependent on the glasses simply because you're aging and you're finding a need for them, but they're not going to speed anything up. Things are going to happen regardless what you decide on doing. Well, hopefully you found this discussion so far useful for you. I had actually hesitated about making a video like this because it can be a little complicated trying to explain some of this stuff. But my goal here was to give you some background information so you can make a more informed decision. If you have any questions, just feel free to list them down below. But what I will say and what I will do is I'll refrain from trying to make too many recommendations on things, because you really should have that discussion with your own eye doctor so that you can take into account some of these other variables that we have discussed here and make a good choice for yourself when it comes to using over-the-counter readers. All right, let's move on now to some devices that you can use for magnification that don't involve using over-the-counter readers. And some of the most common ones that you'll find are visors like this or this here. So this is something I'm sure you all have seen, and they're really easy to get a hold of. A lot of different sources online you can buy them from. And so a couple of advantages these have for you is you don't have to mess with the frame. This is something you can just put on your head here, and you can pull the magnification away when you don't need it. And it also comes with a light source. This one does not have a battery in it, but the light source is generally a cool white LED. And if you are assembling things and just looking for fine detail, it can help enhance things by having more light on your subject. Now, if you're trying to paint something, this could be a problem because cool white light can cause problems with color perception, and if you're trying to get certain colors a certain way, you want a more natural sort of light shining on that versus something that this can give you. Now, when you are talking about these visors or these types of devices, and you're considering the power these come in, what I've encountered for the most part is they list the powers in terms of magnification, not in diopters, and those things aren't really interchangeable. You can calculate one from the other if you really wanted to do that, but I just want you to think of magnification as the size that it's going to appear through the lens. So if it's a 2x magnifier, it's going to be twice the size that the object appears to be, and a 3x will be 3 times, and so on and so forth. So this particular visor here comes with 2 options. I don't see the powers listed here, but this one just adds strength to what you have here so that you can have more magnification. Now, bear in mind, with more magnification, the object is going to appear larger, and you're going to have to hold things closer because the focal point will be closer to you. But also remember that you're going to get a more restricted field of view. So things will be larger, but you're not going to have a wide field of view to look through. And that works really well for a lot of people. And the other thing you consider doing is if you do have astigmatism or glasses for the distance, and you put these over them, you're now just adding magnification over the distance, kind of like a bifocal. That's what a bifocal does at the bottom of a pair of glasses. And that way you'll have your astigmatism and the unevenness that we talked about corrected for. All you're doing is adding that magnification over your glasses. So that's one advantage, again, you can have with a device like this, is you can also wear your own glasses and place this over them. There's plenty of room to accommodate a pair of glasses. Okay, so let's move on now to this other device. This is a different type of visor that I purchased, and what drew my attention to this is that you have, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 levels of magnification. It starts at 1 and goes up to 3.5x. So that's really cool because you can easily switch them out. This is what the device looks like. And as you can see, it's designed more like a pair of glasses in that you have temples that hold them over your ears, and you have nose pads here that lift up the device so that it's not resting on your cheeks. Now this one also has a light source, and the battery compartment for this light source is right here. There's some padding there for your forehead, but if you take this front piece off here, let me go ahead and do that, you can see that the battery storage is right there. And it just uses 2 AAA batteries. Now, when you're ready to put in the magnification you're going to be using, there's a little slot here that will accommodate the lens. And it's simple. You just slide in your lens like so. And same thing as the others, when you put these on, you can easily, move the magnification away from you when you're not needing it. Now, whether you can use this with a pair of glasses, let's go ahead and put these glasses on for a moment. And say I wanted to put them over them, you can see it creates a problem because you just don't have enough here to rest on your nose. But you probably could do that for a short period of time, but it's really not ideal. So really the way you should look at these is as a pair of over-the-counter reading glasses with multiple options that you have that you can switch out. Okay, guys, well, that is going to be a wrap for now. Hope you found this of interest and of help to you when it comes to trying to decide what type of magnification to use and how these things work and why they may not be working as well for you if you've tried them. One of the things I came across as I was trying to put this video together, I just wanted to see what was out there on YouTube in terms of advice for reading glasses, and I came across a few videos from modelers that were basically telling people, wait, hey, these 2.5 readers work for me. That's all I ever needed. So you should go out and try that without any other information given to the person viewing the video. They could go out and spend some money on these types of readers only to find they're not working for them. So hopefully this type of discussion here and some of the information I've given you will give you an understanding of why they just simply don't work for everybody, or why they just might work for you. You just got to kind of do a little bit of investigating here, and again, talk to your own optometrist and your own eye doctor so you can make the best decision for you. Alright guys, if you have any questions, again, feel free to leave a comment down below. Otherwise, I will see you then in the next video. Thanks again for watching. That bell means class is dismissed. Take care.